Greetings, viewers, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I'm pleased that the Cosmetic Dermatology Society of India has invited me to speak to you on this platform. And given the times, given COVID, I hope we recover soon. And we continue to do e-meetings like this because I think this is a really, really fantastic idea. So today, I'm going to be talking to you about a topic which is how I evaluate hair loss in my practice. My basic aims today. Before I start, these are my conflicts of interest. So my essential aims will be to delineate the common tools that we use for trichologic evaluation, but most importantly, practically use tools only, because if we come to the list, there's an endless list of hair evaluation procedures that we can use. The methods of evaluation range from non-invasive to semi-invasive to invasive, like a scalp biopsy. What is relevant to us? History. Of course, the art of history taking is centuries old and very pertinent even when it comes to trichology. You need to be able to delineate the history of the duration and pattern of hair loss, how the hair loss is, whether there is shedding, thinning, or both, the age of onset, the duration, and even medical and surgical history, which we often miss. Now, drugs are something which we should elicit history about. And during the times of COVID, you must have gotten a lot of patients with excessive hair loss, which is attributable to the stress, whether it's financial, physical, or emotional. So these things have to factor in when you're talking about history. When it comes to clinical grading, you have grades which use flash photography. You have grades which are like a basic assessment and a specific assessment pattern by Lee et al. You have the Ludwig scale, which we've been using for centuries. You have the Olsen grade, which only grades the frontal accentuation pattern. But in practice, I want to use the Norwood Hamilton scale for male pattern baldness and the Sinclair visual analog scale for female pattern hair loss. Now, this is a beautiful scale where you can just take a printout of this and stick it up at your clinic, do a visual grading and grade the patient. Since patients nowadays come with a mixed pattern, both female and male, I would want you to use Sinclair for female and Hamilton Norwood for male pattern. So these are two which are very important. Next, we come to questionnaires. Now, unless otherwise proved, validated questionnaires are the ones that you should be using. For example, this one by the Merck Research Labs. And even though we do use a lot of indigenous questionnaires, ones which are validated and ones which have a Likert scale or a psychological scale are the ones which would be of most importance. Next, let's move on to hair count. You've done your history. You've given a questionnaire for the patient to fill up when he gets home or after the consult. Hair counts, you have daily hair count, which is quantified by the patient. Now, all hair which are shed by a patient in one day have to be collected, whether it's in the shower, whether it's in the pillow or the sheet where he wakes up, the sink, and even on the comb and the brush. These are things which commonly forget. Now, this is different from the standardized wash test, which I won't be discussing today. And what we tell patients and what we've been telling patients, in fact, is that if you have less than 100 of hair fall, then it's androgenetic alopecia. Whereas if you lose more than 100 hair in a day, it's chronic telogen effluvium. Now, this is far from the truth. How did we get to this number 100? Assuming that you have 1 lakh scalp hair, and let's assume that 10% of them are in telogen. 10% of 1 lakh is 10,000. One telogen cycle lasts for 3 months, which is 100 days. And going by 10,000 hair falling in 100 days will give you 100 hair falling in 1 day. Now, the biggest flaw here is that you are assuming that all 10% of your hair at that time are in telogen, which we know is untrue because we as mammals have an asynchronous hair cycle, fortunately so. So the more important thing is, if 100 hair are falling from one single portion of the scalp where, alarm bells should ring in your head for any kind of trichotillomania or, even alopecia areata for that matter. Otherwise, use a scientific scale like the Sinclair hair shedding scale, which was published a few years ago, which we've regularly been using in our outpatient department. Next, we come to the 60-second hair count. Now, I find this count very, very underrated and extremely underused. Pre-shampoo days, you have to comb from the occiput throughout the length onto a sheet which is spread below. So let me show you a video. The normal range by Vasco et al. When they tried to standardize it in 2008 was between 12 and 77. So if you can see, hair from the occiput right through the length onto a sheet of paper which is placed below. So this patient had 51 hair which she lost over a period of 60 seconds. So this is good to allay apprehensions of patients who come to you saying that, doctor, बहुत बाल गिर रहे हैं, they're losing 200 to 250 hair. But when you quantify it in front of them, then it's a sigh of relief for them as well. So half your treatment is done right there just by using a simple hair evaluation method. Hair pull test. Obviously, I would not want you to subject your patients to something like this. This was clicked when Cirque du Soleil came to Mumbai in December 2018. 20 to 60 hairs are grasped between the thumb, index, and middle fingers. Let me show you a video to demonstrate. And once you've grasped those particular hair, that bunch of hair, it has to be tugged. When you see the scalp rise a bit, then in the same direction, the tug has to be, the force has to come in the same direction. You can't, tug in the opposite direction and expect a good result. And 5% to 10% now we know, if you have a hair loss of, 6 to 10 hair, that is absolutely significant in 50 to 60 hair which you've pulled out. The alarming thing is, we tell patients that hair pull test is positive only in telogen effluvium, whereas it's positive in other conditions like anagen effluvium, loose anagen syndrome, diffuse alopecia areata, even in early patterned alopecia for that matter. So, beware of these other things which can simulate a hair test positivity. Coming to a contrasting felt examination, I personally love this test. You take a simple, don't take a credit card, take a simple visiting card, place it against the patient's scalp. You can see vertical regrowing hair as a sign of, regrowing hair in androgenetic alopecia. You can see vellus hair in AGA. You can see upright regrowing hair, pigtail hair. You can even see sharply cut hair, which you would notice in trichotillomania. So, for all these things, a contrasting felt examination is very good. Next, we come to a trichogram. So, we use it more for clinical studies. The fundamental is the same as the hair pull test. You grasp hair in a rubber hemostat, you twist, lift, and pluck. And then you cut it 1 to 1.5 centimeters below the root. This is a simple anagram of what all you need to use for a trichogram. And to examine the trichogram, you can either use a videodermoscope if it gives you a 200x magnification, which most of them do, or you can use a simple light microscope, which again is present in every department. You can see a good golf club anagen hair. You can even notice the inner and the outer root sheath in this trichogram. This is a telogen hair at the bottom, and that arrow-shaped hair is a dystrophic hair, which occurs because of improper technique. Next, global photography. I think all of you know why you should use it. The important thing is to standardize hair photography so that each visit gives you the same standard photos. If you have the moolah and the wherewithal, please go in for the Canfield stereotactic device. It will set you back by 30 to 35 lakhs. If you're not heavily into research, your own standardized jugards will do for photography, but please standardize it. That is the important thing. Now, next we'll move on to trichoscopy. Now, trichoscopy is no longer an if, but a mandate when you want to see hair. There'll be a separate session on trichoscopy, I'm sure. So just an approach, you see the shaft, you go down till the hair follicle, you see the perifollicular area, you see the area between two follicles, and then you see any vasculature which is present, and that completes your trichoscopy. You should use it for all cicatricial alopecias, all diffuse alopecias, all localized alopecias. In 2020, there is no reason for you to not sit in a hair OPD with a trichoscope. Another thing which a lot of us do not do are biopsies. Now, sometimes even trichoscopy does not help. You have to resort to a biopsy. All undiagnosed cases of non-cicatricial alopecia and all diagnosed cases of cicatricial alopecia, because you want to assess how much activity is still there in the patch. Vertical sections, if you want to see, the area around the hair follicle, but if you want to count the number of follicles, you have to do a transverse section. So make sure you have a technician who's adept at both transverse and horizontal sectioning, transverse and vertical sectioning. Some honorable mentions: phototrichograms, unit area trichograms. These are done mostly in research centers like ours. There's something known as a Folliscope, Trichoscan and Trichoscale you're aware of. We are also going to get, polarized microscopy, reflectance confocal microscopy, and electron microscopy very soon. So these will be things which we should, look forward to, which will probably push the sonic envelope. So to conclude, the hair evaluation method toolbox is an indispensable one, but a huge one. What to use when and when to use what are the questions that I've tried to answer through this presentation. Trichoscopy is now a necessity. I've said it before, I'm saying it again. It's not just an aid, it's a mandate. And scalp biopsy remains the gold standard. I'd like to acknowledge Professor Rachita Dhurat. She's the reason why I'm in trichology, and my mentor and trainer for trichology, Dr. Madhulika Matre and Dr. Puneet Saraugi, who helped me with the histopathological slides. I'd like to end with reminding you that, CDSI shows you how good Mumbai is in terms of academics. So please do vote for us. And thank you from my side. Take care.